and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about plantar fasciitis, but stick around for the end so you can figure out how to win a giveaway. So first of all, when I said plantar fasciitis, many of you were like, plantar what? Or there's others of you that like, I know that term all too well. So today we're going to learn about what plantar fasciitis is and steps to how to treat it. So first of all, plantar fasciitis is the inflammation of the fibrous tissues that run from your heel that connect to your toes. And so what happens is it becomes inflamed and really tender. So you'll have intense heel pain and just a lot of discomfort. So many people mistaken plantar fasciitis for a stone bruise because of that intense pain on the heel, but it's actually plantar fasciitis. So you might be wondering how you got plantar fasciitis, and there's not really one thing that causes plantar fasciitis. It can be overuse, it can be doing a new activity but doing it to the extreme, it can be from wearing old worn out shoes, or it can just be because you stand for your job for long periods of time on concrete and that really hurts your heel and your body as you're not having supportive shoes. Here are some steps to go about trying to either help your plantar fasciitis or prevent getting plantar fasciitis. So number one, you got to make sure your shoes aren't worn out. And the reason for that is because you're losing all of the cushion and the support underneath the arch. And so with plantar fasciitis, with the stretching underneath the plantar fascia and not getting that support, it's no longer holding it and supporting. So that is why you're having that intense pain. So if you go to your closet and get your work shoes or get your running shoes and want to check them to see if they are worn out, grab them and you'll look at the bottom of the shoe and you'll push the forefoot. So if it's really soft like that, that tells you that your shoe is worn out, not all the cushioning is gone. So you may look at the bottom of the sole and say, well, I have all this tread, my shoe's not worn out. But because of this flexion here and how soft it is, it really is. So if you compare it to a brand new shoe and you were to push the forefoot of that, you will see that it barely moves. And so you still have all of that cushion within the sole of the shoe. So while it is also important to have new shoes, you also need to have support underneath the arch. And the reason for that is to help take that pressure off of the plantar fascia. So with plantar fasciitis, it's important to get either an over-the-counter orthotic or go to your doctor and get a custom-made orthotic that has that support underneath the arch, like I said, to help take that pressure off of the heel and that plantar fascia. So what these orthotics do is it helps to support the arch. So when you pronate and your foot flexes, it's going to put pressure on this part of the orthotic, but it's not going to allow your foot to flex all the way, and so it's going to keep it supported. Another thing that's helpful is the RICE method. And so you may have heard this term before, but RICE is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. And so rest, obviously it's hard if you are working full time, maybe you're exercising, or whatever the case may be, you just have a busy life. So it's hard to keep your feet propped up and rest them, but it's important. So rest whenever you can, whether that is not running 5 miles and doing the elliptical or swimming or any other non-weight bearing activity. That way you're still getting your cardio, but you're not putting as much force on that plantar fascia. The other method is ice. And so we have a few different tips and tricks for icing your plantar fascia because most people don't want to take a bucket of ice water and soak their foot for 20 minutes because it's miserable. But some other methods for you to do is just take a water bottle, fill it up with water, put it in the freezer, and then you can roll it while you're sitting down watching TV. Do that for about 15 to 20 minutes and do it as often as possible. So the more you ice it, the better it's going to be because it's going to help to take out that inflammation. So another method is to take a Dixie cup, fill it up with water, put it in the freezer, and peel away the paper. And as you're doing this, you can just have something to hold it so it's not real cold on your body, but then you can just roll it on that affected area and the area around. So that way you're massaging it, but you're also icing it. And then as the ice starts to melt, you just continue to peel away the paper. The next thing is compression. So they have these compression sleeves that are specifically for plantar fasciitis. And the reason for this is so that it compresses the plantar fascia and helps to take away some of the pain, but it also helps with blood flow and it helps to move that inflammation around. And so by having that support around the arch and something that is holding it in place, it helps to feel better. And so you can use this when you're sleeping at night or just all day with your new shoes and your over-the-counter orthotics. So now we have our E, which is our elevation. So when you are sitting at home after you've already iced it and you've done all the things you need to do throughout the day and you're sitting down enjoying the end of your day and relaxing, make sure that you are elevating your feet. So make sure it's above your heart so that way it is elevated high enough to get all the results from that. Another thing that if you have plantar fasciitis really bad and you need something to help keep it kind of stretched throughout the night is to use this Strasbourg sock. So it will keep your foot like this while you're sleeping. So that way it doesn't get too tight, because with plantar fasciitis, you wake up in the middle of the night, you go to the restroom, or you're getting up for your day, and as soon as you stand up, you have intense heel pain. And that is because your foot begins to heal overnight, because hopefully you're getting 8 hours of sleep, and so you have those 8 hours and it's starting to heal, but as soon as you step out of bed and you don't have shoes underneath your feet, then it's going to re-stretch and inflame those tissues underneath your foot. So this helps, so that way it helps to keep it kind of stretched. So another thing is stretching, and this can be a controversial topic. Many people say that you should stretch it, other people say that you shouldn't. And what we have found is to not stretch, or at least not do any weight-bearing stretches, because we stretch to prevent injury, not after we already have one. And so some things to help get your plantar fascia moving and wake it up in the morning is you can do the alphabet. That will just help to wake up the foot. And then you can do some massage techniques. So you can use your trigger point ball, or if you have a golf ball or tennis ball or lacrosse ball at home, you can roll that around your foot. You don't want to do it too hard because that can damage some tissues, but you want to do it light enough to where you can feel the massage, but not to where it's hurting. So we've already talked some about shoes, but it's important with plantar fasciitis not to go barefoot. And the reason for that is because when you step down, it's pulling all of those fibrous tissues underneath your foot, and it's re-tearing or restraining what's already going on there. So it's important to have shoes right at your bed. And some of you are like, man, I love to go barefoot. But if you really want to get rid of this, it's important not to. So you can have some shoes at your bed. You've got some UFOs here that has a support underneath your foot. You've got a pair of Hokas that are great for plantar fasciitis, or you have Bionic and Chaco, but all of these are sandals that you can just have directly at your bed, and that way it has that support underneath the arch, and it's going to hold that, and so it's going to make your morning routine a lot less painful. So a lot of you may have Googled best shoes for plantar fasciitis, and you will come up with a list of shoes that are like, this is the best one here, or this is the best one, but it's not necessarily the case, because each person's foot or feet are different. And so if you go into a specialty store near you, what they'll do is they'll watch you walk, analyze your gait, and see what type of shoe is best for you. So that way you get the right amount of support and cushion underneath your foot. So there's not one shoe that fits all, but there's going to be one specifically for the type of foot or the activity that you are doing. When it comes to exercise, you can still do that, but you just want to moderate that and maybe do some pull workouts or the elliptical or the bike, because it's putting a lot less stress on your body than if you're going to go out for a run or to go on a walk on that hard pavement. Or if you still love running or still love walking and want to do that and you don't want plantar fasciitis to stop you, then maybe choose a softer surface. Go to a track that's rubberized and use that. Go to a trail and use that. The uneven surface can be questionable, so just make sure it's one that doesn't have too many rocks or roots, and that's more grass than rocks and roots. So those are just a few tips that we have for being able to continue along with activity and don't let plantar fasciitis rule your life. As soon as you're ready for work or for your daily activities, go ahead and have your other shoes there, lace them up, and then head out the door. Because, like I said earlier, it's important to support the foot all day long. So as soon as you get out of bed until you get back in bed at night. So keep in mind, we are not doctors here at Swag Sports Shoes, but this is what we have learned working with feet and working with people with plantar fasciitis on a daily basis. If you're still struggling with plantar fasciitis, we recommend that you go seek out your doctor and figure out a plan that works best for you to get over plantar fasciitis. So now for the part you've all been waiting for, our Powerstep giveaway. So to enter to win, you have to subscribe to our channel and comment down below either something you would like to see, what you liked about this video, or something you like about Swags. Alright, so that is all for our plantar fasciitis video. We hope to see you next time. Have a great day.